truthfully, I've made this and I labeled this obviously with help from, my trusted friend Claude. I've labeled this sold before the pitch, right? Because essentially, for all of you guys know, is the month of April, I hit my record month, like the most amount of money I've ever made in the business, okay? And I also hit my record close rate, okay? Close rate of about 45%, okay? Average cash collected of about, 1,000, so it's not like I just closing random people or taking money here and there. Not only was my close rate the highest, hit a record month, and I made the most money I've ever made, and my sales performance was the best, okay? And what I want you guys to understand is I've been in sales for like the past 2 to 3 years. It's not like my sales performance just automatically increased that month. There was some aspects that changed. I was at home, I was, actually doing the stuff that I was supposed to be, but nothing crazy actually changed. Okay, the first thing and the main things is that really changed, the main things that I implemented, because a load of these things that you guys, you already know, it's just about implementing them. The main things were I just implemented a kind of system, and after reviewing my calls, looking at every single person I spoke to, I realized that the main 3 things that changed are what I'm gonna go over, all right? Okay. So for you guys right now, okay, whether you're closing or whether you're setting, because this applies to you in all forms of sales, okay, if you're in the DMs, okay? 9 times out of 10, how you perform and how you speak and how you convey yourself in the DM can either win or lose the sale before you even get in front of the closer, Like for you right now as Killian, like as a closer, what if I told you that sometimes the sale is already lost before your second sentence? Like as soon as you come on the call, how you convey yourself and the whole process behind that. What if I told you that can decide or that can define whether or not you close every single person? The top 1% when they're selling, okay, they don't sell harder. There's no crazy new tricks, no crazy shiny object. They just play a different game and they understand these 3 core pillars, all right? And the first thing, the main 3 things that a prospect is thinking before they get on a sales call with you, whether they're in the DMs or whether they're on the call, is number 1, can I trust you? Do you actually get me? And will this actually work, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cover each of these things. And like I said, I'm gonna stop and I want you guys to kind of ask me, okay, how does this apply to me? How can I make sure that, this is something that I can improve, okay? Because it all starts genuinely, for all of you setters here right now, this is overall sales, okay? You have probably the most important part in the setting process. And the prospect, before you get on a call with them, they're already deciding if they can trust you based on how you're speaking to them, the process that they followed in the DMs, how the call was booked, how you reached out to them, all of that plays a key part. And I think with my setter here, Stephen, this is what we really dialed in last month, to the point where all of these leads that we're coming into, all I had to do was get them, showcase to them that this will actually work. And that's why we absolutely smashed last month. So one thing you need to understand is that you're not selling prospects when you're speaking to people, you're leading them, okay? Whether you're in the DMs or whether you're setting them on a call, you are leading prospects, you're not selling to them. And a prospect, the only reason why they're gonna buy from you is if they feel like you're ahead of them, if they feel like you're leading them, if they feel like you're the authority in the conversation, okay? And I spoke about these foundations in my previous mastermind, and these all matter, okay? First things first, as I spoke about greet. Okay, every prospect must want something. So when you're in the DMs, when you're setting people, you need to figure out, what does this prospect actually want? What is the selfish region? Whether you're a closer, you need to be thinking about, all right, cool, why is this prospect here on this call? Okay, there's 4 types of things that a prospect can want. They can want to solve current pain, they can want current pleasure, or they can want to solve future pain, or they can want future pleasure. Okay, so you need to first of all figure out what is it that this prospect actually wants. I speak about indifference, even in the DMs. Don't come across too needy, okay? On calls, you need to have that mindset. I learned this from Temi and Yomi, Temi says this all the time. It's I'm eating, what is it that you specifically talk about that you're eating, or when you're on a sales call, it's I'm eating dinner no matter what. Remember you had an example?
Yeah, I'm having spaghetti bolognese.
He's having spag bowl, do you know what I mean? He's having spag bowl tonight no matter what. No matter if you buy or whether if you don't, he's having spag bowl, so it's about indifference, okay? Impulse curve, this is more on the DM, speed to lead, making sure you're closing at the highest point of impulse, okay? People want to move will move faster because of loss rather than gain. So in the DMs, you want to get a reason. It's what is this person actually avoiding from? What are they scared of losing rather than what do they want to gain? You're conversating with them, it's not a pitch. When I'm on a sales call, I'm not pitching, I'm conversating with them, okay? Obviously, Data is the truth, always go on your data, the traffic light theory, and like these are all things. It's just a little bit of a recap, right? And this is what I spoke about in my last mastermind. And then also this is what I spoke about in my very first mastermind as well, all right? Pain, goals, doubt, and logic, the kind of like pyramid of sales. And it's like if you're able to go through each of these things, these are kind of like the 4 buying things that will make someone want to buy, okay? And the reason why I show you guys that is obviously recap, so you guys understand that, like first things first, pain, why they're here, you know, what isn't working. Number 1, their goals. Like, what do they want? What's their vision? Why are they on this call? Okay, say if you're speaking to a business owner, say if you're selling B2B, if someone jumps on a sales call with you, there's a reason why they're on that call, okay? And they have a pain that they need you to help them with. You know what I mean? Right now, I made 20K last month. I don't necessarily have pain, do I? But if I get on a call with someone, like one of these coaches, my pain is, David, why are you so broke? You're not making 100K a month yet. You know what I mean? And if someone's really good at their job, they'd probably be able to sell me on that. You know, tell me no's, I'm very easy at being sold to. It's like, that's my pain. So all of you guys, you need to understand that no matter what, if you're speaking to a business owner or you're speaking to someone, it's like, if they're speaking to you and if they're on that call, they've got pain, all right? Their goals, obviously, what do they want? Their doubt. What is in their mind that is stopping them from wanting to move forward? Or what are they thinking about that, you know, is probably going to stop them from, why, for instance, when it comes down to high ticket sales, okay? Doubt, something that we have to kind of shut out is, okay, do I actually have the time to make this work? And we say, okay, well, I mean, if you've got at least 2 to 3 hours every single day during the week, and then you've got the weekend, you can make it work, right? That's removing a limitation, that's doubt. So you always want to think about in your sales equations as well, what doubt do I need to remove from someone's brain? All right, say if, Nick, you're on a fitness offer, okay? Say if you're selling to someone and you're leading someone and you're in the DMs and you need to think, all right, cool, what are the main things that's going to cause this person that might not want this person to buy, and you want to remove that limitation. So for them, it could be, can I manage this diet while I'm at work? And you know, you and your client can work out and figure out in the sort of sales interaction. It's like, yeah, you can. Okay, you can get these meals, you can order these meals, or we can help you with stuff like, you know, pre-training, like prepping your food and stuff like that. That's removing doubt, so that there's actually no reasons for why they don't want to buy, and then also logic, right? And like I said, this is just a recap. This isn't what I'm gonna go over. Okay, but even if your paying goals, your doubt, your logic is dialed in, and also like your 11 foundations as well, if you don't understand these 3 things, and if you do these 3 things wrong, you are still and you will lose sales, all right? Number 1 thing is, can I trust you? Are you an authority that I want to buy from? Okay, all of you guys here, maybe I'm wrong, but like put your hand up. Would you buy from someone, first of all, who you feel like you can't trust? Would you buy from someone who you don't feel like really is an authority? No. Tell me you look like.
Yeah, and let's say I was hiring like a software developer.
Okay.
And it was just some like really goblin looking motherfucker.
Software developer, yeah. But I guess But
I suppose he's an authority because he's an expert in his field.
Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't trust that person. Obviously you trust him to lead that department, but you wouldn't trust that person to lead you, would you? No. Someone, exactly. No. And that's the number 1 thing that you really need to be thinking about. Is all right, cool. How can I showcase myself as the authority, not only in the DMs, but also in the calls? If you're a setter as well, it's like, the biggest thing that I see with setters and when they're looking to get applied and when they're applying to roles is that, obviously, the business owner naturally is going to have more authority. But the biggest thing I see setters doing is almost looking like fans, right? They're almost like, oh, bro, I'm so happy to get on a call with you. Do you know what I mean? It's like, no, you need to hold yourself as the authority, because what you need to understand is you guys have all got sales training. You guys are the specialist in your industry. You need to believe that mentally. It's about how you hold yourself, right? So you need to go onto that call like, you know what? I'm the authority here. This person needs help with their sales, and I'm going to come and help them with sales, okay? Because the last thing you want is a business owner trying to teach you about sales. No, the reason why they need you is because, you know, you are the expert in sales, all right? So it's all about, can I trust you, and having that authority, okay? And people don't buy from people that they like. They buy from people that they trust to lead them, you know? The majority of you guys, the reason why you've worked with me and the reason why I pay Temi every single week is because I trust him to lead me, you know? I trust him to be the type of person that's going to get me towards my goals, and it's the exact same with you guys. You know, the reason why you've come here and you've invested into my training, you've invested into my coaching is because you trust me to lead you to actually being able to make money in sales. And it's the exact same with, you know, whether you're helping people, whether you're in fitness, okay? When you're in the DMs, you need to be thinking about, am I the type of person? Am I showcasing my authority? And am I showing this person that I'm the type of person that they need to lead them? Okay, and this is how beginners drop it, all right? They use language. They don't sound certain. And like maybe, possibly, they don't sound sure on themselves, okay? If I was on a call with you guys and I wanted to sell you something, I didn't sound sure it's gonna work, how are you guys gonna be sure? You know? If you go to a doctor's appointment and he's trying to say he's gonna do an operation on you and he doesn't really sound sure that's gonna work, it's a little bit peak, isn't it? It's like, oh, actually, I don't think I wanna do this. It's the exact same, all right? If you're a setter, it's like walls of paragraphs in the DMs, over-explaining yourself. Don't get it twisted, you need to showcase clarity on why the person needs to show up to the call. But you shouldn't be over-explaining yourself. That's why stuff like voice notes as well, whenever you've got a client, I've been doing this with my setter as well, it's like actually sending pre-recorded voice notes. Do you know what I mean? Stuff like that, so that even if you have a lot to say, you can actually say a lot in the voice note, but it doesn't look like a lot compared to type in paragraphs and essays, okay? So all of you guys, if you've got a client, it's like, let's say, how can I find a way to make pre-recorded voice notes for my client so that I don't have to be sending so much DMs I don't have to be sending tons of DMs, okay? And obviously I know a load of you guys, for instance, as a closer, the way it works is like speaking too much on the call, okay? Mirroring nervous energy, like I said, if the prospect is nervous, the worst thing that you can do is be nervous. You need to showcase them how excited you are, and you almost need to be as excited for them, because that's infectious. You know, if I came in here and I was super low, the energy would be super low. But because obviously I'm just being naturally David, I'm laughing and joking, the energy is naturally going to get higher as well. All right. And finally, just wanting to be liked. How A players do it is they lead the prospect like they've already paid. Okay. I remember I learned this like a few months ago. It's like the coaching starts in the DMs. The coaching starts on the call. When you're a closer and when you're selling to someone, you need to basically be showcasing them, and for that 45 minutes to an hour, you are leading them. You start coaching them and you start shifting their mindset, because that's what I did with loads of prospects that had limiting beliefs when I was obviously closing last month. And my close rate just increased because they were like, you know what, I'm sensing this energy, I'm sensing this leadership qualities from this guy, I need to buy from him. Okay, lower the tone, slow the pace. Don't need to be talking too much. Speed and speaking too much is like a sign of, it causes fear. You know what I mean? I've been reading a book called 6 Minute X-Ray. It's like you want to sort of move and you want to talk the pace that you would when you're walking in water. You know, that is what signals calm, and that's what makes people calm around you. So when you're starting the call, when you're in the discovery, or even when you're in the pitch, it's like, don't rush, slow down. Be willing to disagree. I think this is the biggest thing, especially if you're a closer or even if you're a setter. Be willing to disagree with your prospect. If your prospect says some absolute bullshit, tell them that they're saying bullshit, and I promise you they'll respect that. Some guys that I've closed right now, or people that I'm coaching, it's like, on the call, if you say something that I don't agree with, and I think that I will tell you that. And your prospects will respect that so much more than you being a yes man. You know, say if your prospect, you might be speaking to someone and they've got a really limiting belief. They're speaking about how, to be honest, the reason why I've never made money online is because I didn't have time. First thing I'm gonna look at is like, mate, how long have you wanted to make money for? Oh, about 5 to 6 years. And how old are you now? You're about 21, okay. So over the past 5 to 6 years, are you telling me right now that you haven't found at least 2 to 3 hours? Like, would it be ridiculous to say that, over the past couple of years, you wouldn't have been able to find at least 2 to 3 hours to put into something like this? And I'd be like, I guess. It's like, what have you actually been spending your time doing? Oh, I've been playing video games, I've been doing this, I've been doing this. Okay. So really and truly then, do you think you haven't had the time, or do you feel like you just haven't been utilizing the time correctly? Oh, I haven't been utilizing the time correctly. All right, so what do you feel like you need to do now, and how are we going to change that? I need to utilize it correctly. Can you see how now I haven't, most closers right there will just be like, damn, okay, but what we do is you actually don't need a lot of time to do this. But like, no, I'm shifting that mindset straight away. I'm killing that cancer, right? I speak about it with objections as well. It's like objections, small things like that, they start off as cancers and you need to pre-handle them. You need to kill them before they turn into a big cancerous ball that messes up your whole set. So the first thing I'm doing is like, don't agree with every single prospect, especially if they're speaking nonsense. If you're speaking with a client and they say some bullshit on the call and you're in the interview, obviously don't offend them. If they're saying like, some nonsense about sales, be like, to be honest, can I offer you my perspective? I actually disagree with that. I think this and works, and what I've learned from my coach or what I've learned from this is this. How do you think? And I promise you they're going to respect that so much more. Be willing to walk away, and they make statements alongside questions, okay? They kind of, like I said, they give their opinion as long as asking questions. You're not a waiter, you're a doctor, okay? like I said, they came to you because they have a problem, so you need to diagnose it, you need to prescribe, and you don't beg, okay? You're the calm person, you're the expert in this situation. So the doctor came to you, they came to you, they're the patient, and you showcase to them how you know more than them, and that's why they're speaking to you. Does that make sense so far, guys? Like, do you have any questions, or I hope any questions on how that might apply to your situation or anything, or any questions? All right, so this is kind of how it applies, you know, in whether you're a setter or whether you're a closer. It's like you're leading the conversation, okay? Your authority, okay? You're not begging for the call, like you're showcasing them that this call is in their benefit, that you're gonna join on this call and I'm gonna walk you through how we're gonna help you achieve X, Y, Z goal, okay? You're leading with diagnostic questions, you're not just pitching, okay? You're advancing the conversation, you're like, perfect, all right? Here's my, that's someone? You're saying, here's my calendar, let's lock in a time, I've got this time and this time available tomorrow, let me know when you book and send me your email. Right, you're leading with questions, okay? And like I said, you're willing to disqualify people. You don't want to work with anyone, everyone. You're not just working with people just to work with them. No, you know, you will disqualify people as well. As a closer, it's like you're setting the agenda, they're following, okay? You're framing the call, you're explaining how things are going to go, obviously in a friendly manner, but you're the authority in the situation. Statements over questions, it's like what we're going to do right now is like what we're going to do is we're going to go over this, we're going to go over this, and I'm going to see if I can help you. You're doing that instead of, so would it be possible if I walk you through this, this, and this to see if this can help you? No. And then finally, just be willing to walk away. Again, okay? You know, it's not what you say, it's like the posture that you say it from, right? So you want to drop the tone, you want to slow the pace, diagnose, prescribe, don't chase. People who are too agreeable, like overly agreeable, don't get trusted. You know, it's kind of like that car salesman that you walk in and he's like, what car do you want, mate? You know what I mean? He's super friendly, like, oh, this car's the best, but this car's the best, but this car's the best. It's like, brother, every car can't be the best in it. What is the actual car that's best for me? You know, don't have that commission breath. It's actually like, you know, showcase to them that you're not agreeable. You will push back and you will tell them what you actually think because you have a brain for yourself, all right? The leader is always is the most willing to leave. And if you go in scared, if you go in feeling like you're not the authority, or if you go in feeling like, you know, this person is above you, you will just lose no matter what. You know, if you go into a boxing match and you're like, you know, this person's better than me, I'm going to get fucked up. You're going to get fucked up. If you go into a football match and these teams are actually going to smash us, you're going to lose. But if you go into the sales call, like I'm the authority, I'm here to help this person, I'm going to win, you're going to win. Does that make sense? Amazing. So stuff like this, even like with the open and frame when you're on a sales call, it's like the point of this call is to fully diagnose your situation, right? I want to leave you better than you found them. If I'm 100% sure and you 100% are sure as well that you feel like this solution will help, we'll speak about the next steps. That's such a more authoritative question, or such a more of authoritative than, yeah, so basically we're just going to see if hopefully maybe we can help you. It's like, no, this is what we're going to do. If I'm 100% sure, and obviously you're 100% sure as well, we'll speak about the next step, right? Does it sound fair? Amazing. Perfect. Do you get me? Okay, this is the most important part of sales. The person that you're speaking to, they need to feel like you get them. If you're a sales rep applying to a role, do you get what the client is looking for? Do you get what their biggest pain point is? Because believe you me, clients have pain points as well. Okay, but if you're selling to someone on a closing call, do you get them? Do you get how their problem is causing them to show this way and show up this way in their life, and now it's been not like this for so long, and what this is actually a cause of them and what the deeper issue is? Do you actually understand that? Because when people feel like you can understand them, they have no problem with giving money to you because they're like, you know what, they feel like they've just gone to therapy. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, do you get them? Because no matter who you're selling to, you can get them and you can understand them. And this is the diagnosis frame, right? People don't buy solutions. They buy from, obviously, solutions, but they buy from the feeling that finally someone finally understands them. I always use myself as an analogy. It's like, because whenever I'm sold, whenever someone sells to me, I'm like, yeah, this person gets me. This person understands my problem. This person understands what I'm struggling with. So whether you're a setter in the DMs, it's like, especially because you can relate to a lot of people. That's why it's always really important to sell for an offer that you relate to. It's like, if you do a lot of work and if you understand the offer, it's like, you can showcase this with your language on how you actually feel and how you relate with the person. But people don't buy from people that, you know, they don't just buy the solution. They buy from people that they actually feel like actually sees them, all right? And this is where a load of people go wrong, all right? Generic discovery, surface answers, okay? Whenever they hear one pain point, they're just jumping to explain how their product solves this, explain how their product solves this, okay? They're listening to respond but they're not listening to understand. There's a difference between, in a sales conversation, listening to understand the person and then respond, rather than just listening so you can follow the next framework on your script. You can follow the next line. I promise you, this whole month that I closed last month, when I hit the almost 45, like almost 50% close rate, it's like I did not use one single sales script, not one single framework. Okay, obviously I understood these core principles, and that is the perfect thing about once you understand what you're actually doing, is once you understand exactly roughly, you've got a rough idea in your brain, in your head of like what I need to understand from this person and what this person needs to understand for them to want to move forward. You don't need scripts again, you know? And where a lot of people go wrong is they're just asking questions to move on to the next stage of the pitch, whether they're in the DMs. But if someone says something that's really important to you, something that you can leverage on and something that you can dive deeper, it's like your next question in your script doesn't matter. It's like, oh, hang on, but you've just mentioned this. Like, can you tell me a little bit more about that? And that is so much more leverage, and that is so much more of like you understanding the person, feeling like you understand them, rather than you just, rush into your script. The way A players, and the way you guys need to be operating when you're doing sales is, there's three types of like sort of emotional, or three layers in, discovery and understanding someone. Obviously, you've got the surface level, what they say, emotionally, what that does to them, but then also their identity as well. What that does to their identity and how that's just affecting them as a person. Okay, you want to use their exact words back to them, okay? And you want to understand and you want to showcase that with labeling. You want to utilize exactly what they're saying to you so they can see you understand them. And you also want to stop and pause when they say something heavy. Someone in the DMs, they're like, to be honest, bro, this job's ruining my life. A lot of people would just laugh. What do you mean, bro? But it's like, damn, bro, ruining your life is a strong word. What do you actually mean by ruining your life? Tell me more, It's you want to pause when someone says that, because 9 times out of 10, even when people are joking, they're always how they explain their situation and how they explain what is going on. That is a very telling sign on, what is going on in their mind. So you need to be thinking, all right, cool, hang on. What do you actually mean by that? How was that affecting you? And then finally, you want to label their emotion before they do. This is why labeling is okay. That sounds so frustrating, bro. Yeah, it does. Tell me a little bit more about that. How long has this been holding you back, and what problems has this been causing for you? But yeah, the most people stop at the core layer, all right? And it's if you're a setter right now, someone just says, oh, I want to make more money. B player says, oh yeah, they're just going to stop it there. Someone just says, I want to lose weight. Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. Now we help loads of people do that. You know what? Let's book a call and see if we can help you do that. Sometimes they might show up, they might not. But if you go down to the emotional level, why do you actually want to make more money? Okay, what is your lack of money? Why is the problem right now? What's that doing to you currently? Okay, when you're actually you go into the identity level, it's okay, when you make more money, what type of person do you become once you get more money? And if you don't make more money, if you carry on, finding this issue of struggling to pay your bills every single month, who are you scared what type of person do you become if you don't take action, if you don't change? That's a lot deeper, and you understand a lot more about them, and you're able to give that information to whether it's your closer or whether you're in the DMs. You're able to understand your person so much more if you just go deeper than the surface, okay? You guys all know this as well, but it's you want to dig deeper, but it's you're not just digging deeper just to dig deeper. You're digging deeper to understand what this person's motive is, Sort of framework and the discovery that I'll kind of follow in every single one of my sales calls is, 70% of the discovery, whether you're in the DMs or whether you're closing someone or whether you're dialing, the whole call really needs to be discovery. Because if you're able to discover really well, I know you're you're kind of helping people with flights. It's if you're able to discover what type of flight that they want, when they want to go, and you've got all of the information about them, the solution is really 20%, but it's so specified and it's so point on because you understand the person that you're leading, all right? So it's the biggest issue that a load of people make is they'll make it 50-50. But I genuinely believe that half of your call really needs to be spent discovering, building the bond, and understanding the person on a deeper level. Because then if you also understand your product as well and you understand your solution, you're going to know this is exactly what I'm going to help this person with. If you understand what they've been burnt before and you're able to give that information to your closer in the DMs, or you're able to actually touch on that in the DMs as well, why they're scared of taking action because they've been burnt before, you're able to go into that. You're able to understand, all right, cool, what approach do I need to take with this person and what solution do I need to show them, right? So it's 20% the solution. Okay, and there's just 10% of the decision. That's the end, okay? And all of you guys need to be prepared because believe you me, like with all of these calls that I had as well, although there was barely any objections, it's like I'd almost go into all of these calls understanding that, you know what, say I'll keep out like an hour or an hour and like 15 minutes for this call. First 45 minutes is going to be discovery. Final 15 minutes is going to be the pitch. And then there's going to be like 10 to 15 minutes of objections / the decision / just logistics. And understand that the decision process, it's not always going to be a yes. They will have some clarity. There will be some sort of bridging and some solving that you need to do on there. But that's just part of the sales equation. I think when I really the biggest revelation I've understood these past couple of months is knowing that I used to hate handling objections. Like I still do hate handling objections, right? And obviously that's why what you do in the discovery and everything like that, you can kill objections. But I just go into every single sales call knowing that, all right, I'm prepared to handle the objections. The worst thing that you can do is and the reason why a load of closers get nervous at the end is because they don't have a process in their mind. They're not expecting the objections. But even if a call goes super well, I'm like, yeah, this guy said yes. Once I pitch, I'm ready mentally for 15 to 20 minutes of objection handling. I'm ready, And yeah, you don't want to pitch until they say, yes, exactly. You've explained that really well. You really understand me. All right. So as a setup, don't book until you find the real reason. You want to find one reason, one selfish reason. Okay. Because the selfish reason is what closes them later. Okay. Repeat their exact words back to them. And then you want to pass the diagnosis. You want to pass the notes to the closer as much as possible. My set is really good at doing that. Like you literally put in the notes of the CRM. Struggled with this. So I think this will be a really good selling point. Amazing. Now when I'm on that call, I'm not speaking about this. No, I know this is what this person needs. And you guys as well as setters, you've got a really big part to play in that. Genuinely, the sales can literally be won or lost in your hands. It's like, if you give your closer, if you give them all of the information that they need so that they feel like they understand this prospect so much more and you give them your, what you think will help them, I promise you, you will make more money and your closer will make more money and the business will just thrive, all right? Cool. So yeah, it's the interview versus the conversation, all right? When you're asking questions, what are your goals as an interview? But, when you can give context, I speak to a lot of people like you, and you had this whole vision, but you didn't know how to get there. What is your mission? What is your vision? What do you want right now? All right? You're not paraphrasing, you're repeating exactly what they're struggling with and their exact pain points to them. They pay anything for the person who finally gets them, all right? Figuring out on their identity. Future pacing, who will you become if you don't do anything about this? Or if you don't solve this problem, what does that look like for you? Okay? Listen to understand, not to respond. And then once you understand how to diagnose prospects, that's when you can really start going into pain, goals, doubt, and logic, because the whole basis, the whole foundation is there. And, it's it doesn't feel like an interview anymore. It feels natural. It's the future ties back to something that they've said, okay? So in the DMs, for instance, it's if someone says, oh, I've never had the right people around you, when you're pitching the call, you're going to be perfect, all right? Maybe you can get your client to record a voice note, perfect, bro. Well, to be honest, definitely think this might be something that we can do. I'm going to send you my calendar now. We can book in a 45-minute call tomorrow so we can actually see if we can help you do this and we can actually get the right people around you as well to help you solve that issue. So much more stronger than, let's just book a call to see if we can help you, When you're pitching. It's I've never had the right people around me. And if their biggest pain, their identity is the people that have held them back for the whole time, which you understand because you've been diagnosing properly. It's now at the end, it's you're not selling on all of these other things. You'll be but I think for you, David, the biggest thing is going to be the community and the boys that we've got around you and how you're going to be able to grow with them, right? Because that's exactly why I built Pillar 3, which is the community. You've got access to other like-minded men like you that you're going to be able to do stuff with, you're going to be able to learn and grow with. How does that sound? Do you feel like that would help you? Way better than, so we've got this, and this. It's no, they're going to be oh my gosh, this person's listening to me, knows exactly what I'm struggling with, what's that's causing me to do, and you showed me exactly the solution. And then finally, will this actually work? Your conviction. It's in the back of everyone's mind, right? The discovery could be great, but the biggest thing that's going to cause someone to buy or whether not to buy is if they feel what you're pitching or what your solution, if they feel like that can actually help them or not, and if this will actually work. All right, because certainty and doubt are both really contagious. Do you know what I mean? But your goal, and this is why as well, it's as a closer, how you convey yourself, or the belief that you've got in what you're doing and like how you're changing people's life, that matters so much, you know? The people that make the most money, although there's some people that make the most money that aren't really ethical, I've realized that the people that make the most money are normally just like really good. And they've got, I'm talking about, you know, people, obviously there's exceptions, but the businesses in the info space that make the most money are the people with just really the most belief and the most understanding in themselves. It's the exact same with you guys if you're hiring and you're looking to get a closing role, a better closing role, or if you're looking to get a setting role. It's like if you put me right now, say if you just took my business from me and I had to get back into sales, I would have way more confidence in myself and way more certainty than the person can have doubt about me. I'd be on that call, I'd be letting my nuts hang, I'd be like, listen, I'm the best sales rep you'll ever hire. I've done this, done this, done this. Any environment that you put me in, I'm gonna absolutely smash it. It's like, I'm really ready to just crush it with you. Like, are you ready to go? Do you need an A player? And because my conviction, my certainty is so contagious, they're gonna be like, you know what, yeah. But it's when you're doubtful as well. Of course, you're the person of a client that you're looking to hire or that you're looking to land for their role is gonna be doubtful. And this one is a little bit more deeper, right? Because it's very hard to fake conviction. Like, you actually can't fake conviction in yourself. Do you know what I mean? And that's why the biggest thing, and I always think and I always want to focus on it myself, is like on a day-to-day basis, personally, whether it's with sales or whether it's just with life, right? How can I operate so that I've got the most conviction in myself? Do you know what I mean? It's like if we go out for drinks this weekend and we're speaking to some girls, I'm going to be the most confident because I'm going to be like, yeah, you know, I've just run a mastermind. I've got so many boys here. I've created this whole event. Because my aura is going to be contagious. I've got that confidence in myself because of what I've done. It's built on history. That is what's going to make me confident, you know? And that's what I notice in every single person that's confident. They just believe they're that guy. You can't really force that. And it comes down in what you're doing, how you operate on a day-to-day basis. So this one isn't really sales like techniques. This is just more about yourself. Like, how can you make it so that you're so confident in yourself as a setter, as a closer? How can you make it so that you're so confident in the business that you're working with? You know? How can you, like, are you confident in the founder that you're going to be closing this person from? Are you confident in what you're going to be taking them from? And whether you're leading teams as well, that's why it's really important to like lead from the front, because if you're not leading from the front, and your sales reps don't feel like you're the type of guy that really knows what he's talking about or really deserves to be where he is, it's like, that's just going to showcase in their sales performance. I haven't stopped and asked for questions in a while or anything like that. Like, is this making all sense to you guys? Is there any? Perfect. Almost done now. It's like, yeah, your job is to, it is and it isn't to remove their doubt. It really just is to outweigh it, you know? Because if someone can see how confident that you are, no matter how, because everyone's always going to have doubt. You know, even if I invest into something right now, I'm still going to have doubt, but I trust in that person that's leading me. If they're really confident, I'm going to be confident too. You know? It's like, imagine you're in a plane, okay? And the pilot comes out, you guys are having turbulence, and he's like, yeah, I'll be honest, guys, and you can hear it in his tone, he's like shaking a little bit. It's like, so we've got turbulence, hopefully we'll be okay. I'm not really sure. I'll let you guys know. It's like, I'm bugging out in that plane. I'm sure all of you guys as well. It's like, I'm looking next to the person like, oh no, you know. But whenever you're in a plane and you've got turbulence and the pilot comes in the intercom, he's like, yeah guys, this is your captain. You've got a bit of turbulence, a little bit worse than normal, but we're gonna be totally fine. We'll be on the ground in about 2 hours or 12 minutes. You're like, all right, cool. You listen, you put your earphones back on, you're just back on your phone, right? Because the certainty in that person's voice has assured you. So the certainty in your voice when you're a closer, when you're pitching, and when they're asking you questions, if you're certain in your voice as well, they're going to be certain. But if they ask you, oh, like, how does this work? And you're like, you know, it's kind of like the pilot. They're not going to be confident as well, are they? Okay? And yeah, sales is an argument. It is genuinely just an energy transfer. You know, it's how much energy, how much conviction, how much belief, how much, how can you transform this person's mindset into understanding that, you know what, this is the guy that's going to help me. You want to be more excited about the outcome than they are. And you want to really showcase that in your conviction, how you're speaking in the DMs. Your speed to lead, your speed of reply is genuinely a signal of conviction. Do you know what I mean? Especially as a setter, it's like the speed to lead, the more you reply to someone, the faster, they're like, all right, cool, this guy's on it. You know what I mean? This guy clearly is enjoying this conversation, he's certain. You don't want to over explain the call, but you just want to give them clarity. You don't want to get like caught up with not giving them clarity. You want to explain the call, but not over explain it. You know, drop some proof and, drop some anecdotes before the call. If you're setting for a client, like, yeah, to be honest, bro, you remind me exactly of one of our students. His name was David. He got fired from his job 2 years ago. Now he's, making 20K a month. It's like, if you can give examples, you can give anecdotes, amazing. You know, lock the calendar invite, be like, perfect, bro. What we'll do is we'll book a call in, one works for you tomorrow, next week, or the day after, perfect. And then, yeah, as a closer, it's like, you know, you're not flinching on price, okay? You're tying them, the prospects down throughout the call. You're using stories, like I said. And, you know, if someone says that they need to think about it or they're not sure, it just means your conviction wasn't there. But it's not done. You can still kind of understand that and then showcase your conviction and really, like, just draw that into them. Okay, like I said, whoever's more wins. Your tonality, you know, save a number, showcase that, you know, this is what we're gonna do, this is the price for it to change your life. Proof beats logic every single time. Tonality, slow voice, slow tone. You don't want to speed up when you get to the price because the person will be able to tell you're nervous. You know, if someone says they need to think about it, it's just a failure of conviction. And yeah, you want to build certainty throughout the call. This is why I've been speaking the whole time. It's like throughout the whole equation, you need to be drilling them in and you need to be understanding them and you need to be building certainty. And then finally, same plane, same turbulence, different pilot. Both of those examples that I gave you of the pilot, it's like two pilots can handle that completely differently, and that will therefore showcase how the person that you're selling to feels, all right? So, yeah, this is I put this as kind of like as an example for, like, for instance, say if you're pitching the price, right? So based on what you told me, the right fit is this, and it's just a one-time payment of X, all right? How does that sound? So much more confident and strong. So yeah, it's 3K, you know, and then with your tone being that, just like slow and controlled. And yeah, but, you know, so when someone says they need to think about it, it's like your conviction dropped. If someone says it's not the right time, you didn't understand them enough and you didn't diagnose them enough for there to be enough urgency. And, you know, say if someone's speaking to you and you're in the DMs or when you're on the call and they're like, why are you asking me all of these questions? It means there's just a lack of authority. So you can really understand wherever your sales conversations go wrong by seeing what the main issue is and then tying it back to one, because it's always going to be one of these three things, you know, it's always going to be involved. So yeah, it's like the tactics, the qualification, and then the posture, how you hold yourself. This is what I spoke about, obviously, the tactics, like what you actually do. Qualification, what you're actually discovering, but then today the three frames, the conviction, the authority, and like, can you lead this person? That's how you hold yourself. All right, cool. So this is how you're going to make sure that obviously you can understand how this works for you and if you're actually doing this, you know. If you're new, it's like you're lacking of authority, okay? If your discovery is good and you're losing sales, it's because of obviously your conviction. And if you don't feel like you understand your prospect enough, it's because of your diagnosis. All right, so you want to make sure you're recording all of your DMs or you're recording all of your calls and you're reviewing this with your coach. You're reviewing this with your mentor. And then, yeah, you're just reviewing this yourself and you're going over it as well, right? Cool. Boys, you know, I ended this off, like, you know, tactics are what makes you like a good sales rep, but genuinely like understanding the key core principles and understanding frame as a sales rep as well is what makes you unrejectable. Yeah, boys, that's pretty much it. Any questions or anything like that? I did just talk. I don't think any person asked me a question. So I don't know if I'm that good or, you know, there's no questions. Yeah? Yeah? Oh, we'll keep it at that then, because you always love asking me hard questions, mate.
You were talking about conviction. Conviction.
Yeah.
What would you say? Let's say you've got a situation here, it's a bit leery.
Yeah.
You've got a guy on the other end of your closing call, you're a closer.
Yeah.
And the guy, you're 50-50. Is this guy going to do a good job or isn't he? Not 100% sure. Don't have 100% conviction in this guy. He's moving a bit soft.
Yeah.
But if he wanted to, he could make it work.
So
how do you have conviction in that situation when you're diagnosing him with the best plan of action if you're not 100% certain that it's going to get results?
So you're talking about the person that you're selling, you're the closer and you're selling to the person.
Yeah.
And it's 50-50, like you feel like he could do it?
Yeah, like he could if he wanted to.
Could if he wanted to.
If he locked in and sorted his life out, but in his current state, not the best guy in the world.
I mean, to be honest, mate, I think in my current state, when I joined Alpha Sales or when I started sales, I probably wasn't the best guy in the world.
Probably not.
You know what I mean? I think
definitely
wasn't. Yeah, I definitely wasn't. When I started or when I first bought my own program or bought a program, I probably wasn't the most locked in guy in the world. I definitely didn't have all the right habits and I wasn't the type of person that would become who I am now, but I locked in, you know? And if you believe that your process can actually help them do that, which I'm sure you guys have got confidence in as well, if you genuinely believe that if it is possible for this person because you've got a proof or you are the proof, then of course, do you know what I mean? But it's like, I genuinely think that every single person can lock in and they can change their life. You know, every single person should believe that. They can get to wherever they want to get to if they just are willing to become the person that does that, you know? So you kind of, and that's why I'll even explain, and I know you do this as well, it's like, you tell them on the call, and I tell them on the call, it's like, do you want me to be 100% honest with you? Like, I'm gonna tell you right now, this is not a get rich quick scheme. So if you're not all in on this, and if you are not dedicating yourself right now to actually want to put in the work in, and you're not willing to put in the hours, learn the skill and actually work, this probably isn't the right thing for you.